Charlotte is a very tough place to race. It's been really hard for me.
I think sometimes Charlotte is a tough place to race just because it's fall time, so temperatures are cooling off. You don't have the heat. You're not racing under the sunshine. Everybody tends to run single groove-ish there and makes for interesting restarts, that's for sure.
You could go from a 10th place car like we were to winning, or you could go from a winning car to running 10th or 15th.
He plays the fuel mileage gamble and wins.
Holy guacamole, buddy. Awesome job.
Doing the right things on the restart is going to be extremely important at either winning the race or getting enough points to get you to the next round.
And welcome to NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifier from Charlotte Motor Speedway, presented by DraftKings. Under the lights on this very fast 1.5 miles, and speeds will pick up as we get ready to set the field for the Bank of America 500. Drivers, crews, getting their cars ready for 3 rounds of qualifying to figure out who is fastest and who will bring the field to the green flag. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside Jeff Burt and Steve Letarte tonight as we get ready to set the field for this, the first race of the second round of qualifying. How do things change now that we're in round number 2 of the chase?
Well, I think this race is very important. You know, the reason I think that is because every driver tells us it is. Race 3 in this set is Talladega. So you have to assume that you're going to be in a wreck at Talladega. So you need to come out of Charlotte, need to come out of Kansas with really, really good runs and ultimately get a win.
I mean, we just came off a shell shocker. Jimmy Johnson,
right,
6-time champion, eliminated at Dover with a mechanical problem. So when you look at the chase grid, those 12 drivers have got to be looking at this as take advantage of every opportunity because you never know when it's going to be your time to have a problem.
How important is qualifying up front here now that we're into this first race? The importance of Charlotte and Kansas, knowing that Talladega is the third race of this round. How important is qualifying up front?
Well, I think it's really important. I think this race especially, and the reason why is this: we're going to race this race Saturday night. It's going to be really cool. We've seen this racetrack, Charlotte Motor Speedway, when it gets cool, gain a ton of grip. And when you get that much grip, it becomes that much harder to pass, and track position becomes very important. So the best way to get it is start the night with it, so that makes the night very important.
And, Steve, what about the day to night change? I mean, we practiced earlier in the afternoon, and now we're under the lights for qualifying.
Well, it doesn't matter how many times we run this schedule. This is a very hard schedule to get used to because look at the afternoon practice speeds. 27.5 seconds is a really good time. But when you get to evening qualifying, you need to be down close to 27 seconds flat. When you ask these race cars to go around this 1.5 mile tri oval faster than you did in practice, a lot of issues can happen. Not only do the balance of the cars change, but they travel more. The driver has to go out there and find a half a second. Where do you find that? Do I drive in deeper? Do I get out of the gas lefts? Do I use the brakes differently? There's a lot of question marks. It doesn't matter how many times we run the schedule, Jeff. It's definitely one of the most challenging ones.
Yeah, no question. You got to find a way to pick up that speed, and it's very difficult. You don't know where it's coming from. Just like you said, driving the corner harder, getting the gas sooner. What do? Dave?
Jeff, I'm with Ryan Newman, who owns 9 poles here, and no matter what format it is, he's going to be fast here tonight. We were looking at that graphic together. What does that tell you about the speed pickup here at Charlotte?
Well, you expect some. And seems like every schedule is a little bit different. I mean, Xfinity practice just ended. We don't always have that, so the track's going to be a little bit rubbered up. But it's always faster. It's always fun here qualifying at night at Charlotte. See those sparks flying, things like that. But Caterpillar Chevrolet was mediocre in practice. I got a really good in 3 and 4 and not so good at 1 and 2, so hopefully the driver can fix 1 and 2.
You are through to round 2. Have you taken a deep breath, and are you ready for the next 3?
I mean, this is like the relief, right? I mean, we went into the first round 12 points behind, and now we're tied for the lead, so I'm good again.
Yep. 3,000 points for everybody, Rick. He is tied for the top spot.
And all smiles as we entered the first race of round number 2, and we'll get underway with qualifying in just a moment. We will talk to a few drivers before they climb behind the wheel of their cars to take on Charlotte Motor Speedway.
All of the drivers in every race want to win the race. That's what we race for.
Everybody's feeling the pressure. Everybody's running all out all the time.
As it gets to less and less guys, the pressure of winning starts to ramp up. And there's no doubt that pressure will come back to everyone.
And welcome back under the lights at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we get ready for Sprint Cup Series qualifying presented by DraftKings. Drivers still haven't climbed behind the wheel of their cars, at least not all of them. And yet they're getting ready for round 1 of qualifying. We get ready to set the field. 45 cars here, only 43 will be able to start on Saturday night. Let's go trackside to Mike Massaro.
Rick, they're getting ready to get in their cars. Carl Edwards is one of them. Practice earlier today, you were 19th on the board, but you said your car drives really well. The question, though, is does it have the speed to contend for the pole?
I think it does. I mean, I ran that last lap in practice, and I thought, man, there's a lot out there. So, everything's going to pick up so much here at night. I hope our Stanley Toyota is as fast as I believe it is. The trick will be the first round. We'll get kind of a feel for everything, and then I think you're going to see some really high speeds the next couple.
How do you approach this round to round?
I don't know. A lot of times you come into these first rounds and you think, hey, this is kind of a breeze, but everyone steps it up so much. It's really easy to miss the second round. So I'm going to be really aggressive and just see what we've got.
And he can be aggressive. He knows his way around here. In fact, he proved he knows his way to victory lane. He won here back in May, Dave.
And Mike, I'm standing by with Greg Biffle, who is one of the non-chase drivers, hoping to make a little noise, perhaps even tonight in qualifying. Greg, you had a pole back here in the former format. What does it take to be fastest at Charlotte at night?
I think it's whoever's got the biggest guts to hold the throttle down getting into turn 1 here. This place really fast at night. And our Roush Performance Parts Ford Fusion really fast. We're pretty happy with it. Third quick there. In practice qualifying today. So we know it's going to be faster tonight. Just hope you don't hit the ground too much. A lot of things can change. You got to have a good handling car and you got to stay in the gas.
And as you and the team move forward now, not being able to contend for the championship, what are the goals week to week, Greg?
Well, we're actually accomplishing those. We ran really good the last couple races. Third quick here today in practice. So we've got a pretty fast car, we think, for the weekend. Again, we're just trying to improve, and get ready for next year and get ourselves back in that chase and run for the championship.
Yeah, and I think a win along that way might be good as well, Mike. He was the fastest Ford, by the way, of all in practice 1 today.
When you look at that speed chart, though, Dave, you see Jeff Gordon's name on there, prominently 6th on the board. Eerily close to the top of the chart. Can you get there here in qualifying?
Yeah, that's pretty unusual for me during the day here at Charlotte, so I'm pretty optimistic. The track had a lot of speed in it actually during the day, so I don't know if we're going to see it pick up as much as we typically do here, but certainly the track's got a lot of grip. It's going to be really fast, and our 3M Chevrolet seems to be really good.
You know also well this round has some interesting races in it, not just here in Kansas, but Talladega. That said, how important is it to kind of build the foundation here in this race?
Yeah, Talladega is the huge motivator for these next 2 weeks to go out and have a really good race and hopefully get a win, because nobody wants to go to Talladega needing to do anything. We all want to go there and try to relax a little bit, because that is anything but a relaxing race.
A real interesting week for you. I know a lot of dedications to Jeff Gordon around here. This is the place where you got your first career win. What's it like knowing this will be the last weekend you race here?
This place has meant so much to me over the years. Winning here in the Xfinity Series, my first win here, my first pole. It's been a very special place. It's home. Hendrick Motorsports right down the street. I can go on and on and on, and it's going to be bittersweet. This being my final one, so let's make it a good one.
All right, good luck.
All right, thank you.
Jeff Gordon going for his 10th career pole here in Charlotte.
Mike staying with the first wins at Charlotte in the Sprint Cup Series. We stand by here with Matt Kenseth, who is second in practice today in qualifying trim. Matt, how close is this car to getting the pole? Do you feel like that showed its hand?
We haven't ran a lap yet, Dave, so I don't know. We were pretty fast in practice, but during the daytime, just totally different racetrack. So I feel like we've had a lot of speed in our Dollar General Camry, and just see our balances here this first run, and hopefully make the right adjustments and hit your marks just right.
What adjustments do you make as a driver, mentally or with the feet and the hands, because of what this track does in the evening?
Well, you got to be ready for the grip and realize how much faster it is, but you also don't want to overdrive it. You get into the corner too far, it'll mess up your whole lap sometimes. So it's you're asking the wrong guy about qualifying. I'm typically not very good at qualifying, but you just try to get what the car will give you, and that's it.
I've seen you sit on the pole before when you said you're not very good at this qualifying thing. So can we expect maybe something similar tonight?
Well, that was probably like my 40th try, so that's still really not that great, 1 out of 40 or whatever it was, but I have no idea. Hopefully we'll make it to the last round. I feel like we have the speed for that, and hopefully we can get a decent lap there.
It's all about timing. Matt Kenseth could do it tonight here at Charlotte. Rick?
Absolutely. Matt Kenseth, one of the winners in round 1 to advance to round 2. Kevin Harvick was fastest in practice earlier today. Will that translate into speed in qualifying? We're about to find out. Get all the latest race news, results, and highlights delivered straight to your inbox. Subscribe for free the official NASCAR newsletter at NASCAR.com/newsletter. Beautiful uptown Charlotte, North Carolina. Another one of those incredible sports cities. Panthers, Hornets, and of course, Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we get ready for qualifying, let's look at the rules. Round 1, 20 minutes. You've got to be in the top 24 if you want to make it into round 2.
With the pace picking up like we think it may pick up, it's going to be hard. You heard him talk about pacing yourself in round 1 so you don't eat your tires up too much. How can you pace yourself when you don't know what the pace is going to be? You got to go out and run as hard as you can, like we heard Carl Edwards talking about.
And the interesting thing is after you get out of round 2 into round 3, 3 runs on the tires. Is the balance going to change, or is the cooling track going to offset that? Is the grip still going to be there? Which round will we see the fastest lap time? I question if we won't see it in round 3 when the track conditions get perfect.
Were you guys confused when we heard the interviews of Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle? Did those 3 drivers mention different things as far as what to expect in qualifying?
Yeah, I mean, Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards, I was on board with them. They talk about how we're going to go out, the track's going to be gripped up, you have to manage your grip. You heard Carl talk about how he wasn't the best, as far as speed goes in practice, but he knew there was going to be more grip and his car was going to be good. But then we get down to Jeff Gordon, and he had a different opinion.
Yeah, he said, he wasn't sure that it was going to be quicker because it was so quick in practice. He didn't think it could pick up very much. My experience tells me that it will pick up. We'll see what happens. The other thing is, a lot of times in Charlotte, it gets real damp. It gets cool, but it gets damp, and that seems to hurt the speed a little bit. I don't think we have that moisture issue tonight.
Drivers strapped in.
I mean, another issue when you talk qualifying, you talk about loads, is just today in practice we saw a lot of cars rubbing left rear tires, a lot of smoke coming off this. You see, as we were just talking to, the 19 of Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse, his tire rubbed so hard he actually had a flat tire. Great save to keep it out of the wall. And then the 6 of Trevor Bayne also showed some smoke out of the left rear tire. This is a consistent issue because there's so much load at this racetrack that while we talked about it in practice, Rick, while you can simulate a lot of the vertical load, these corners are so fast, so loaded up that left rear tire really moves to the left and rubs that quarter panel. The question is, when you go to pick up another half second, who's prepared for that? Will they keep their splitters off the racetrack, the left rear tire off the fender well? There's a lot of opportunity mechanically to make mistakes when it comes to qualifying and that much speed pickup.
I'm interested to see who wants to go out first. I want to see if who wants to go out first or who wants to sit back and understand what the pace is. Sometimes it's better just to sit so the driver can see how fast cars have gone instead of going and trying to figure that out yourself. So it's really going to be interesting to see the race down to pit road to who can go out early.
It really comes down to confidence, too, because the track's only getting better. I mean, even though the sun's been set now for some time, it takes a little bit of time for everything to kind of cool off. The other thing we haven't talked about, not only has the sun gone down, but we had a ton of Xfinity practice between Cup practice and Cup qualifying. That's a little unique. We don't see usually that much practice between the two. So now, let me get this straight, Jeff. You just have to guess on track speed, track conditions, track grip, and what the rubber does on the rainbow. It should be simple.
It's easy.
And the green flag is out on round 1, and they're flying down pit road already. But will they go out on the track is the question. Ryan Blaney's going to.
Oh, yeah, he's a young driver. He wants to get him some right off the bat. You see a lot of guys just all running out as soon as they get open, and they're rolling.
Look at pit road. Who's not going on the racetrack?
Well, some guys think that it might be crowded right now, so we're seeing a few stop. Carl Edwards, he looks like he's going to make his way out onto the track. One of the last to go out for this first group.
You see Ryan Blaney running the high line, coming to get the green flag. That's just to get his momentum going. So when he gets the green flag, he's running as quick as he can. He's going to drop down and run the bottom when he actually takes the time.
Not quite to the white line through 1 and 2. And one of the interesting things will be to see if somebody does try to go wide open through 1 and 2. If you can. Right down on that white line through 3 and 4. This will be what everyone will measure themselves upon. Ryan Blaney goes 28.495, quite a bit slower than what he run in practice earlier. Blaney ran a 28.11 in practice earlier and 0.2 of a second.
You want me to do it again here? Just go another lap?
Carl Edwards.
up to you there. See what you feel through there.
Left of your screen will continue to populate. Drivers that are on the track will have a green indicator light next to their name.
So you heard Carl Edwards. He had to make a decision right here. Do I want to keep running? Do I want to put another lap on the tires? He said it felt terrible. He felt like he had to go make another lap. If he didn't, he was afraid he wouldn't transfer into round 2.
It's funny, Jeff Gordon mentioned that he didn't think the track would pick up, and currently, with Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards, it hasn't. If anything, it's slowed down. I have to wonder if some of that isn't all the rubber from the Xfinity cars, because when the Cup cars were on the racetrack, they were the first cars on the racetrack. It was a green racetrack. So while it might have been the middle of the day, perhaps the green racetrack offset the track temperature.
And this is where I think waiting just a little bit would have been really useful, because in your mind, you have to think this track is going to pick up a bunch. You got to go and drive the car way, way hard. It's easy to overdrive the car in that situation. Kevin Harvick, you can see he's on a really good lap. He's going to beat Kevin Hamlin's time by almost 0.3 of a second. Actually, a little more than 0.3 of a second.
So Denny Hamlin drops to second. Kevin Harvick now up top at about a 28 flat.
But that's still a 10 slower than what he ran in practice today. So Jeff Gordon was right. We're not going to see that pickup we normally see here.
And running a little bit earlier gives these drivers an opportunity, if they need to go back out, a chance to cool the tires, cool the car down. By coming to pit road, with this being a 20-minute session, this first round, they'll have about 15 minutes to cool the tires down, cool the cars down if they have to go make another run. Big wobble.
Had his hands for the middle 1 and 2. You see how much on the bottom right-hand side, you can see how much it hurt his time. He's almost a second off of Kevin Harvick as he exits turn 4.
And some drivers trying to accomplish different things. Michael McDowell, he's just trying to be in the race on Saturday night. In the points situation, Timmy Hill in the 62 and Michael McDowell, the two worst in points, meaning they have to be inside the top 36 if they want to have a chance at advancing into Saturday night's race. Joey Logano on the clock.
See Joey's car wiggling a little bit next on the exit of turn 2. He drove into turn 1, tried to run the bottom, but he just missed it. Got up the racetrack. That hurt his exit off of turn 2. He's got it right on the bottom in the middle of 3 and 4. The exit of 4 will probably be much better than the exit of 2 was.
Logano 0.3 of a second off of what Harvick has posted. But still, Logano's second quickest.
That just proves to you how good Kevin Harvick's lap time was, that he's still 0.3 of a second clear of second place.
Kurt Busch, 0.2 of a second slower than Kevin Harvick.
I tell you, though, Jeff, I'm starting to have some anxiety for the teams that are sitting on pit road, because with only 15 minutes left, you have to ask yourself, if the track is this much different, everyone prepared for speeds to pick up. Everybody guessed the track was going to go a certain way, and it isn't really. The speeds are about the same, if anything, a little slower. Are you wondering, did we guess right? Or do we need to get out there and get run? If you're Jeff Gordon, do you have to get out on the racetrack and see what you have with enough time left to make a second run if you need?
Riding along with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
7th in practice earlier today.
Let's listen to his throttle as he enters turn 1. Sure he ever got out of it.
It sounded like he stayed in it.
I don't believe he will this end of the racetrack. It's usually much harder to get through this corner.
Definitely heard him get out of the throttle, then immediately get back into it.
Which, after a great 1 and 2 in the first round, I like that theory. Remember, he doesn't need to sit on the pole. He just needs to put up a great first lap. He's going to almost match Kevin Harvick's time.
Good lap.
He can now consider himself through to the second round.
Nice lap, buddy. 28.04, P2.
Because as we heard earlier, Matt Kenseth talk about overdriving the corner. Well, in my mind, I heard turn 3. He didn't say turn 3, but with all my experience here, that's the easier one to overdrive. So after Dale Earnhardt Jr. really got through 1 and 2, he knows, Jeff, how good he got through there, barely out of the corner. He goes into turn 3, roll out of the gas a little bit, get to the bottom, make sure you get where you need lap time-wise. Here's another guy, when it comes to Charlotte Motor Speedway, has so much success here, he normally knows how to get around here.
shut it down before he's completed a lap.
It did real big and never got down.
Yeah, he went in turn one and he just never got to the bottom of the racetrack. He drove into one, tried to make a big arc getting in the corner. He stayed against the wall for a long time and turned. And when he turned, the car never turned. He never got anywhere near the bottom. So he tried to stay in the throttle, but ultimately couldn't do it. So instead of going ahead and running through 3 and 4, knowing you're going to run a slow lap, he just quit. You know what? It's not going to work. Shut it down. Come in. Cool the engine back off, cool the tires back off, and go make another run.
Figure out what you need for 24th and make sure you get that lap in, as opposed to go out there and struggle in your first lap and then wait and see if you have to go back out again.
And I like that. I like instead of putting more laps on the tires, I like the fact that he just came in. It's no sense, and he would have had to run a whole nother lap to post any kind of decent speed. So I like that strategy.
I mean, it really has become clear to me that I think these cars that, or these drivers, I'll say, that have done this so much as Matt Kenseth runs P3 on the board, they're going to use 1 and 2 kind of as their measuring stick. They're going to know off turn 2 whether they have lap enough to have a chance. If you're really good, nice and conservative 3 and 4, don't give it away. If you're really bad, quit and come in. If the guy's in the middle, well, I thought that was good. It wasn't great. Turns 3 and 4 always seem to be the difficult end of the racetrack, easy to overdrive.
Kozlowski has a good lap coming. He's just a little bit off of Harvick getting into turn 3. See if he can pick it back up. Well, it's a scary feeling when you go around a car like that. You have to be right on the bottom. That car didn't give him a whole lot of room. He was coming in the pits. He could have been further away from the racetrack. So Keselowski moves up to 3rd.
And we now have a cut line as more than 24 have gone. Let's go back to pit road and Dave Burns.
And Rick, when you look at timing and scoring, there's a 0 next to Clint Boyer's time on track. No laps run, but that's not entirely true. He ran 3/4 of a lap before he gave up on it because the car shot up the track. So he pulled it in, and they've cooled it down now, and he's getting ready to go out again, make his lap for round 1. The interesting comment I found from Clint was that he felt like the grip level was really there in the track, even if the speeds might not be way up. So grip level, good for the 15 driver. He just didn't have it under in the first lap.
And instantly, Rick, when we talk about the cut line, and that's what we're comparing to now on the bottom right of your screen, is we're comparing to 24th, because that's really what matters. There's some names that are starting to get close to that cut line. We have Kyle Larson 21st, Jamie McMurray in 20th. Truex just ran 18th. Tony Stewart currently 24th and on the cut line with some big names. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch still to make laps.
It took Tony Stewart 2 laps to get to 24th. Carl Edwards, the only other driver up to this point that has taken 2 laps in this first round. And you see a lot of drivers in the green as far as they're going to be moving Tony Stewart down as their times are compared to Tony Stewart. Eric Almirola, he's got almost 3/10 of a second of an advantage, maybe 4/10 as he gets to the start-finish line. Almirola with a good lap. He's 11th quickest.
And Casey Mears right ahead of him on the racetrack. He went to 13th fastest as Kyle Busch goes to 3rd.
So on the left side of your screen, we've gone ahead and shifted the grid. We're not going to show you the top 9 because we're confident the top 9, they're done. They're not going to run again. The race now is for the cut line. You see big names right next to the cut line. Now it's going to be Tony Stewart already bumped out. He's going to have to run again. That's really what this round 1 is all about. Now, Jeff Gordon, he's almost 3/10 ahead at the cut line at the moment, looking for a good turn 4. Just put a good solid lap down, and this looks like it'll do it. Solidly move him in round 2.
4/10 of a second advantage over what Kyle Larson had run. That puts Jeff Gordon comfortably in 7th in this first round. Ryan Newman also 3 to 4/10 of a second faster than the cut line. He's 8th quickest.
And one of our first tracers.
Yeah, you look at Martin Truex Jr. Now 23rd right there on the bubble.
And we talk about qualifying and how important it is. The stress of the playoffs, the stress of the chase is challenging enough to have to make it more difficult qualifying. You don't want to start in the back. You know, the 78 had to go to the back at Dover and did a great job of recovering, but the odds are against you. You don't want to start in the back and think you're going to always be able to recover.
Trevor Bayne in the red doesn't break into the top 24. He is 28th quickest. Now 38 of the 45 cars have taken time. Clint Boyer, he moves to 16th quickest on his first attempt, but it takes 2 laps for him to get there.
And that's what he had the same strategy that that we saw Jimmy Johnson. He went out, had a bad lap. He shut it off. He didn't run an extra lap. He just shut it off. They came in, made some changes, and went back out, and he's up to 16th.
Casey Kane in the green. Again, compared to Martin Truex Jr., who is now right on the cut line for advancing into round 2 of this qualifying run.
I think maybe some of the strategy of these guys waiting so long to run is that they wanted the track just to continue to cool down. And potentially it's just going to get faster as it cools down, and also being able to understand what the pace is. So you see Casey Kane, he's safely in going to the next round in 7th. They sat and waited. The danger in that is if it didn't go well, then you're going to have to go back out. Tires are still going to be hot, and it's going to be hard to pick up if you didn't do it real well. But they had the confidence that they had a car good enough to be able to wait.
Still 4 cars that have not taken a time. One of those being Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Josh Wise, Jimmy Johnson, and Timmy Hill. And you see Jimmy Johnson still sitting on pit road. Let's listen into the radio.
What do you got there, bud? Came to the green, like practice. Left my track bar where it was based on conversations, about being loose. And as I turned in, I just couldn't get down. I mean, I went in there flat, was turning the wheel, and it wouldn't turn. So I'm trying to drive it a little bit more like I did in practice.
So we heard him say came to the green, he thought he was pretty good. Then he went into 1 and he said flat, meaning he never lifted. He tried to stay in the throttle, and when he drove into 1, the car never turned, and so that's why he quit the lap.
And Rick, I have some concern here for the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse. I understand the theory of waiting for the end when the track's the coolest, but you see him, well, now he's moving good to the green, but this will be his first attempt with only 6 minutes left. He's going to be a 10th to the good. That'll move him 19th. Hopefully that's enough, but it was surprising to me. Kyle Larson ran twice before Ricky Stenhouse even ever made his first lap. And waiting that long, Jeff, as you said, traffic, a bobble by the driver. There's a lot of opportunity for it to go wrong.
There's only 3 cars that have not posted a lap yet in this first round. Josh Wise, Jimmy Johnson, Timmy Hill. So is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. safe now at 19th?
That's
with a limited
close,
amount of time.
You have Hornish Jr., you have Truex, Allgaier, McMurray, Larson. You still have some really good
Jimmy
cars.
Johnson,
Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson. So it's going to be close. I mean, I wouldn't be convinced I was going to transfer.
I mean, to your point, Martin Truex Jr., a chase driver, is currently out, not moving through round 1 of qualifying, is definitely below the expectations of this race team.
Especially after they led the most laps here in May. I mean, they were extremely good. Here earlier this year, we would have expected a little better first attempt at qualifying out of Martin Truex Jr.
Let's give a shout out here in 23rd in a 7 car with Alex Bowman. They beat Danica Patrick, Hornish, Truex, Allgaier, some really good cars. That's a really good lap for that team.
There's the sparks we had mentioned. Hitting the racetrack, that slows you down.
Absolutely. And you see McMurray was in the green and it went to the red after it hit the racetrack, and now we're going to see if he can get down to 3 and 4 and get it back as Brett Moffitt is finishing his lap. Here's Jamie McMurray. It looks good down at the bottom of the line, but how much is he committed to the throttle? Doesn't look like it's going to move him into the top 24.
So close, and yet not able to advance.
Murray's 28th and his teammate Larson is 29th, so they just don't seem to have the speed right now.
Danica Patrick on the cut line now to advance into round 2. Sam Hornish Jr., 25th quickest, trying to break into the top 24.
Good lap.
Great lap for Sam Hornish Jr., 11th quickest.
11.
That proves it can be done on old tires. That's a big pickup on his second run in tires.
That's where you talked about Stenhouse earlier at 19th. Was that good enough? Did you feel good? If you see a car go out and pick up that much speed, then to your point, you can do it on tires, and that makes you really nervous.
Just under 4 minutes, and we're seeing the 48 roll. The 14 is now on pit road. Danica Patrick in the 10 on pit road waiting. Kyle Larson, Timmy Hill.
If you're Ryan Truex, now you have me calling him Ryan.
I know,
if you're Ryan
fault.
Truex's brother, Martin Truex, who's in the 78 car, you have to be thinking 3.5 minutes left. I want to get back on a pit road. They're still sitting in their pit stall because Jimmy Johnson here, this will be his first lap. So we know it's only going to get more difficult. He hasn't even put a lap up yet. We'll see here. Remember the last time he went to turn 1, Jeff, the car didn't turn like you wanted.
Yeah, so what do you do as a driver? Do you do it again or do you lift a little bit? Just make sure the car does turn. Come off the throttle just a little bit and then try to go back to the throttle early. You can see this isn't a good lap. It's not started out. He's slower than Alex Bowman, who's in 24th right now.
And as the time runs down, he will not have another opportunity other than this one as he gets into the green. Can he hang on to it? And will it be enough?
What
Jimmy Johnson.
3 and 4.
Bad as 1 and 2 was, 3 and 4 was that good.
8th quickest on that lap.
Good job.
What a great lap for Jimmy Johnson. Now Danica Patrick, who slid all the way down to 26th, will try to go back out and see if she can break back into the top 24.
She's really good through 1 and 2, Rick, almost 0.2 of a second up.
You can't overdrive 3 and 4, though. An incredible lap. Does she keep it up? Good enough to move to 18th quickest for Danica Patrick.
And who does that put on the cut line but Carl Edwards? Another chase driver right on the line of missing it in round 1.
Kyle Larson out again. You saw a big wiggle off turn 4. That's not going to be good enough.
Timmy Hill in the 62 was the only car that had not been on the track yet. He is now on the track as we have under 1 minute and 40 seconds. We keep our eye on the cut line, but Timmy Hill has to be in the top 36 if he wants to race on Saturday. That number right now is Tony Stewart.
And Carl's not waiting. He's not going to wait to get bumped out. With 1:20 left, he's on the racetrack to run this lap. He knows he needs to do more, which is odd because Martin Truex is still on pit road. He's definitely out.
But look also, Blaney in 25th, Truex in 27th. We saw Blaney in practice. He had a lot of speed. So you have to assume Blaney and Truex both are going to beat you. So I think going early was the right thing.
Carl Edwards.
Comparing to himself because he currently is the cut line. So either way, he wants to go faster than his last lap.
He has to improve upon the number that he put up, anticipating that at least 2 drivers could go out and do a better lap than what he posted earlier.
Well, he's doing a better lap for sure. This is a really, really great lap for Carl Edwards. It's going to be an improvement of almost 0.3 of a second. But look at Ryan Blaney right below him on the chart. 1/10 of a second to the good.
Now it's Paul Menard who's on the bubble.
Paul Menard is on the bubble, and he's just rolling off pit road with 25 seconds left to go. Can he make it back to be able to make his lap?
They'll have to get to the start-finish line before the clock expires. It's a 20-minute clock. So once the clock started, they have 20 minutes to start their lap.
See, Paul Menard and his team, they waited until they were knocked out. They waited, somebody knocked them out, and then they went. I'm not sure they're going to make it back to the line in time. There's a red and black. That means they are not going to make it back.
The 17 definitely didn't get. This lap's not going to count for the 17. He was too late. Paul Menard doesn't count, but who it's going to count for is the 78. No, he has finished his lap.
78, shut it down.
He moved forward. So Ricky Stenhouse, as you mentioned, Ricky Stenhouse and Paul Menard. I like the concept. I like the idea. Get out and try to make another lap.
Too late.
Seconds. A few seconds too late.
Yep, too late. Top 24. Top of the chart. Maybe the hottest driver in NASCAR. Kevin Harvick. After winning at Dover to advance to round number 2. He is fastest in the first round. He'll advance to round 2 of qualifying also. '25 through 43 is now set for Saturday night's race. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. actually ran the exact same time as A.J. Allmendinger. But because of owner points, Allmendinger is going to advance into the second round. Stenhouse Jr. will start 25th.
It's always amazing to me that 2 different teams, 2 different drivers, 2 different setups, everything's different. Go around a 1.5 mile racetrack at exactly the same speed. That is amazing.
Josh Wise and Timmy Hill did not qualify to advance to Saturday night's race. Let's go to Dave Burns.
And Rick, I think we always wonder when these drivers take round one into consideration, are they holding anything back to save a little for the following rounds? And did you, Ricky, and did that maybe cost you here?
No, definitely not. We don't ever try to save. You're never sure how fast everybody's going to go, but our Juicy Juice Ford Fusion was all over the place today. Felt really good one run, and we cut a tire one run, and just kind of been all over the place today. But started out that first run, I didn't make a full lap. We were really loose. Came back in, tightened it up, and it's still a little bit too loose that run, and we didn't nail it perfect, but I think we'll have a good car in the race, and have to drive up through the field. So it's not ideal, but it's what we're gonna have to do.
We heard descriptions from drivers before qualifying, both on the side of it's going to pick up speed and be grippy, and I don't think it is going to. What did you experience?
I definitely didn't pick up any speed. They were faster in practice than we were right there. So I don't think the track really picked up any speed. It just kind of loosened up for everybody. And I think that's where some of the speed went. Is we weren't able to hold the throttle down as much as we could in practice. It seemed like to me. A lot of people made about a half a lap and pulled back in to make some more adjustments. So there was a lot of us that did that, and that's just from starting a little too loose. So we didn't nail that, but I think we'll get it dialed in for Saturday's race.
Thanks. Good luck Saturday night. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. will start 25th.
One thing that is going to pick up in round 2 is the intensity. Only 10 minutes to find out who will advance to the top 12. Sunday morning, catch Formula One racing on NBCSN. The Russian Grand Prix live from the Sochi Autodrome. Lewis Hamilton continuing his drive to a championship. He had his 8th victory of the season in Japan 2 weeks ago. You can catch the Russian Grand Prix. It's live Sunday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. And drivers, at least 24, are still strapped in and ready to go for the second round of qualifying, which includes 10 minutes. And that clock is starting right now. And Kenseth, quickest out of his stall. I'm so glad that they allowed these drivers to back into their stalls now, as opposed to pull in front, so that we don't see them backing up and coming onto pit road.
Definitely saved a few fenders.
Yes.
Of course, of the season.
So once again, the list on the left are the 24 that have advanced into the second round. It'll repopulate based upon speeds once they have completed a lap. The green light next to their name indicates that they are on the track. Will we see speeds increase in round 2?
I think we will. I don't think we'll see huge increases, but I do think we'll see cars go faster based on the fact that cars went faster on scuffed tires in the first round. I think we'll see that same thing in the second round.
I think the big difference you're going to see as well is if you nail 1 and 2 like you think it needs to be, and you come out of turn 2 with a ton of speed, how much do you dare leave on the table in 3 and 4? I don't think that whole cautious roll out of the gas, make sure the front end works. I don't think that's going to work, especially with Matt Kenseth running a 27.90 second to go to the top of the board.
Didn't take long for us to decide that they will go faster in the second round.
That's finally faster than practice right there. 9:04 was Kevin Harvick in practice. And Kenseth runs 300ths faster.
Kevin Harvick, who was fastest in the first round, is third quickest.
Right now.
At a 27.98. So all three, the top 3 have increased their speeds and faster than the first round. Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano, and Kevin Harvick. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who had a very impressive run in the first round. We'll see if he can back that up through the middle of the track through 3 and 4 to get that momentum up.
And qualifying, something that both Greg Ives and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have been very vocal about, something they need to improve on to help their efforts. Last week at Dover, with qualifying rained out, they got to start towards the front of the field with setting it by points. But here, you have to actually put the laps down, although this lap here looks really good.
Flirting with the fastest time as he gets out of the gas going into 3. Can he pick it up soon enough to stay fastest? Into the red as he came out of 4. Pretty impressive lap, though, for Earnhardt Jr. as he goes third quickest. 27.979.
It's kind of hard for me to believe that someone who's running the 27-second bracket is going to be eliminated. We currently have 4 cars, though, out of 6 that have run that speed. It looks like it's going to be one of those sessions where everybody's very, very close.
Ryan Newman jumps to 6th quickest, 28.14. Denny Hamlin to 5th, 28.12. Carl Edwards coming to the green. Carl, it took quite a bit of work to get out of round 1. We'll see how he does in round 2. Already in the green.
So he got his left side's really low in the middle of the corner. I'm not sure he wanted to be exactly that low. It seemed like he got him so low that it almost got on the flat of the racetrack and moved him up the racetrack off of 2 just a little bit.
Very low through 3 and 4. Got to be in the top 12 to advance into round 3. He's 8th quickest at a 28.18. David Reagan 10th, 28.34.
I don't think that 18 that Carl ran, I don't think that's going to be good enough. It's going to be interesting to see who can pick up, but that's going to be borderline. What do you think, Steve?
I agree. I think even think Newman, Kurt Busch right behind Ryan Newman, they're all in question with 24 cars in this round. I'm really liking at least the 28-12 or so of Denny Hamlin. I don't have anyone else being safe.
Out of the gas for Kyle Busch. He's 5th quickest. 28.07. Does that stay in the top 12?
I think so. I think Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin both. From Denny Hamlin up, I feel pretty good about their opportunity of staying there. But it moves really quick. And with only 5 minutes left, really at this point, it's sit and wait. With 5 minutes left, these teams don't have enough time to cool the engine properly and make another run.
3 cars making their way out on track. One of those being the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Austin Dillon out on track now.
See him running the higher line coming to the green. When they run up there, because remember, it doesn't matter how long it takes for them to enter the corner. That doesn't matter. But they want to leave the top of the corner with all that momentum down the front stretch to try to help their top speed.
In the red and into the green for Austin Dillon through 1 and 2. A great exit of turn 2 there for Austin Dillon.
Great example of not overdriving the entry, really getting back to the gas hard. But how about 3 and 4? Will he be able to keep it into the green? He lost a little bit there in the middle, but it's going back the other way. Another example of easy in, really hard off. It looked like it'd be just into the top 12. That's what we're comparing to, and there he is in 12th.
Austin Dillon right on the cut line as far as will he advance into round 3. Casey Mears, he's 16th quickest. Sam Hornish Jr. He is 15th quickest. Jeff Gordon on his first lap, the slowest of the 18 that have gone.
Close to the same car, plowed my butt off.
Just way too tight when he's talking about plowing. That just means the car will not turn. He's turning the wheel, and the front tires just will not hook the racetrack and cannot put the car where he wants it to be.
And with 3 minutes and 40 seconds, that's it. He's not going to be able to cool anything off and be able to get back out there. So a very disappointed Jeff Gordon will come back to pit road. Clint Boyer coming to take the green. Drivers that haven't gone: Ryan Blaney, Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Danica Patrick.
As we look below the cut line, we have Keselowski, who's a chaser, and we also have Gordon. Both of those guys have not worked their way in at a Racing Force Championship.
And Gordon could start as far down as 24th. I mean, his lap was not impressive at a 28.42. We see Clint Boyer a little bit slower than Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane doesn't break into the top 12. He's 17th quickest. Danica Patrick, 21st. 78th. Martin Truex Jr. is 14th. Now it's just Ryan Blaney and Jimmy Johnson.
And if you're Truex and Keselowski, You're not going to advance into Q3, but it's not terrible.
Right.
13th and 14th, that's manageable. Obviously, you want to do better, but that's manageable.
Ryan Blaney in the green as far as advancing.
Keep it up. The corner. You could just see the car. It just lost the bottom of the racetrack. The back of the car started driving the front of the car. He was along for the ride at that point, down to 15. Still a good run for those guys, though. Disappointing because they were faster in practice, but still a good run.
Jimmy Johnson takes the green into 1 and 2 in the green, and then right back out of it. We saw this before, though, in round 1.
Yeah, if he does turn 3 as well as he did in round 1, this could be a really good lap.
Brad Keselowski has made his way back out on the track as well. Going to try it again, and this time might not have come out of turn 4 as well. And Jimmy Johnson, 11th quickest, just sneaks in.
And how about Brad Keselowski? I didn't believe there was enough time to cool the car down and run a second time, but Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski have found the time. They're currently just now taking the green in the 14th position, trying to get into that final round.
Cars running out onto the track now. Austin Dillon, the 19 of Carl Edwards. Edwards right on the cut line, and with just under a minute to go in this round, Brad Keselowski in the green. Is he going to advance into the top 12? Brad Keselowski, 13th, doesn't make it up there.
Tied.
He had an exact same time as Carl Edwards, and once again it goes back to owner points. Austin Dillon, 14th. Doesn't break into the top 12. Under 30 seconds to go. Casey Mears back out on track.
These teams have all timed it a little better. They've all taken the green with the track still in the green condition. Jeff Gordon now going underneath us taking the green. So all of these laps will count. All these cars on the racetrack have started their lap on time.
5 seconds to go. Carl Edwards across the start-finish line just as the red and black flags were displayed. Jeff Gordon on track, but not fast enough to advance.
At this point, he could improve his qualifying effort, but he doesn't. He stays in the 22nd position.
Carl Edwards back out of the gas, realizing that he is 12th. So in 2 rounds of qualifying, the cut line, it was 24th and 25th before, exact same time. Now the cut line to advance to the 3rd round between 12th and 13th, the exact same time again. 28.181 for both Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski. How frustrating does that have to be?
Think about it. 2 completely different chassis, 2 completely different manufacturers, 2 completely different engines, completely different teams, completely different drivers, and run the same speed around a mile and a half. It just amazes me. We saw it in both sessions. Unbelievable.
And you see Brad Keselowski realizes he's not going to advance into the 3rd round. But Matt Kenseth will advance into the 3rd round as he was quickest in the 2nd round. And this was the site of his first win back in 2000. Matt Kenseth ended up Rookie of the Year that year. That was an incredible round. 3 different sets of drivers ran the exact same time. Brad Keselowski, the same exact time as Carl Edwards. He doesn't advance. And you see 15th and 16th, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, same exact time. Martin Truex Jr., one of our chase drivers. And Jeff Gordon, also a chase driver in the 13 through 24 bracket. Want to hear from Brad Keselowski with Dave Burns.
And Rick, when Brad was on his cool-down lap, he said a tie? That's not right. There's not supposed to be a tie in racing, right? But nonetheless, you're 13th. Describe your qualifying effort in round 2.
Well, no, we were 12th. There's just somebody else was 12th, too.
Right. 12B.
We got 12B, yeah. But, you know, I think went loaded today, not real good. And then Paul Wolf and the team worked out it, and we've gotten a lot better from where we unloaded. So pretty optimistic, but still certainly wanting to be a little bit faster. So we'll keep working on it. We got a day of practice tomorrow, and 13th is close enough to see the front.
Rick, it's always a positive thing when you move in the right direction.
He'll start 13th tomorrow night. Saturday night for the Bank of America 500. We will have the final round of qualifying when we come back. Saturday, Premier Boxing Champions is back on NBCSN. Southpaw Danny O'Connor looks for revenge against Gabriel Bracero. And knockout artist Jonathan Guzman faces Danny Aquino. Premier Boxing Champions Saturday night at 8 Eastern on NBCSN. Seconds ticking down until the final round. Only 5 minutes. Really one chance. One chance at this. 12 drivers to find out who will win the poll. And where will you start for Saturday night's Bank of America 500? Cooling the cars down.
5 minutes in the final set.
They're ready to go. And green flag has waved. 5-minute clock has started. Once again, Kenseth wants to be first on the track. He'll be followed by his teammate, Denny Hamlin. Greg Biffle will be third out on the track. Then it's Kyle Busch. Really one shot at it. One shot at a perfect lap. See if you can win the pole. Matt Kenseth, he mentioned earlier to Dave Burns, we can't win the pole. I do that every 40 races. Well, he's got a pretty good shot at it, as he was fastest in the second round and now on the clock.
And for a guy that has 3 poles this year, doesn't have a whole lot of confidence, does he?
He has been very good. We'll see how good he is in this, the third round.
Good lap. Looks like he missed the bottom just a little bit. 3 and 4, maybe 12 inches, 2 feet. Wanted to probably get down to the white line. 27.
Wow, 75. Going to be close, I guess, is what he said. His teammate couldn't go as fast, 27.99. Greg Biffle's second quickest, 27.98. Kyle Busch jumps up to second now, 27.95.
He apparently missed the white line in 3 and 4 because he was still in the gas. Because at a 27.75, that's, 2/10 better than Kyle Busch in second. That is an impressive.
Well, maybe he just wasn't aiming for it.
Yeah.
That, by the way, in speed, just under 195 miles an hour, the average. That's the average speed that they're going around this 1.5-mile track. That is incredible how they're able to keep these things on the track. Joey Logano out on track and on the clock. Under 3 minutes to go in this, the final round of qualifying. Logano in the red. Harvick also in the red.
Both drivers, they know what they need to run. Their teams have told them what the fast time is. They know how much they have to pick their pace up. The question is, can you do it?
Yeah, there's no more conservative to these laps. The only way you're going to run that fast of a lap is fully committed. Entry to both corners.
Earnhardt Jr. flirted with green for just a moment. Now he's 0.3 of a second off. Logano third quickest. Harvick sixth quickest. Dale Earnhardt Jr. seventh quickest. Here comes Ryan Newman. He's in the red, 0.3 of a second off of Kenseth. He goes sixth quickest. Still 4 to go.
I think that after last week, the way the 31 ran, I think they're going to be really happy to be in the top 12 and be 6 right now. They really struggled last week, so I feel like they're probably really happy with that.
Strategy for the 48 team, sit on pit road till the last minute. 90 seconds to go, and this is the final round. Kurt Busch on the clock, and he's 1/10 of a second off. They're going the wrong direction.
Matt Kenseth has just knocked the air out of the lungs of some of these guys. I mean, we were thinking, or I was thinking 85 or 90 would be a great lap. Matt Kenseth went out and ran a 27.75 first thing in this session. It's just a remarkable lap time.
Carl Edwards in the green. Back into the red is Eric Almirola, a 1/10 of a second off. He comes out of 4. He's 3/10 of a second off of what Kenseth was able to run. Almirola goes to 7th. Still Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards. Edwards goes to 7th. Now it's down to Jimmy Johnson. And he's about to take the green flag. 30 seconds to go in the session. This will be the last car. Be able to take a lap. And he's right there.
Washed up the racetrack and even turn 2. That's not going to help his straightaway speed all the way down the back straight. That's going to hurt him.
We've seen an impressive 3 and 4 out of Jimmy Johnson. Can he do it again? Still in the red. Coming out of turn 4. Is Kenseth going to be able to do it? Hold on to win the pole. Kenseth does it. The pole winner for the Bank of America 500. Jason Rack, and right there, congratulations. Jimmy Johnson, 7th quick. 7th quickest for Jimmy Johnson. Matt Kenseth, his 17th career pole. 4 poles already this season. We'll hear from him. What used to be a Hendrick-dominated racetrack is now a Joe Gibbs-dominated racetrack, especially in 2015. Denny Hamlin, after an incredible pit stop in the All-Star race, able to cash the check on $1 million, winning All-Star race here in May. Then a week later, it was his teammate, Carl Edwards, who used fuel strategy to do the backflip in celebration of his win in the Coke 600. Matt Kenseth just showing everyone he is fastest and will bring the field to the green flag on Saturday night alongside his teammate Kyle Busch. Let's hear from the pole winners, Dave Burns.
And for Matt Kenseth, I know there was just one winner's highlight missing there. We had the May weekend, didn't include you. How about the October weekend? But let's talk about the pole first. That was a good run, but you said it wasn't perfect.
It was a heck of a lap. I mean, I knew it had a lot of speed. I kind of changed up 1 and 2 a little bit. And I just got a little tight in the middle of 3 and 4, you know, trying a little too hard. But I knew it was pretty fast. Our Dollar General Camry's been really fast all day. It was a lot of fun to drive today. We only did qualifying. We got 500 miles on Saturday, but it was a lot of fun today.
So what about Saturday night? We talk about the 600 being such a long, long race. It's 100 miles less. It's a different time of year. How will it play out for you on Saturday night?
Well, I'm not really sure. We didn't really work on any race trim today. We just kind of worked on getting qualified, and then weather looks good tomorrow, so we'll work hard on trying to get a nice race balance. So in the spring, we weren't where we wanted to be for race balance. We had good speed. We qualified really well, but didn't race as well as we wanted to. So we're going to work hard on that tomorrow and hopefully, find a nice balance, something that drives good and has some speed for Saturday.
All right, Matt Kenseth does have one thing in the books already. He sweeps the poles at Charlotte in 2015. Mike?
And a big day for Joe Gibbs Racing. His teammate Kyle Busch on the outside of the front row come Saturday night. And an outstanding effort. But what was the difference between second and first today?
I don't know. Matt Kenseth, he's way better than me, that's for sure. He got more out of it than I did tonight. But our pink M&M's Toyota Camry's awesome. Guys brought a really good race car here. It was good in practice and didn't show good speed there because everybody kind of went out later and got good times, but we were able to post some good speed right there. So real happy with it. And, thank everyone from M&M's for allowing us to run the pink car for the Kyle Busch Foundation this weekend, and looking forward to the race tomorrow night.
Looking at Saturday night, I know that Saturday night, it's all relative. I know this is your favorite racetrack. I mean, after all, you've got 8 Xfinity Series wins here, but still looking for that Cup Series win. Does it come on Saturday night?
I'd certainly like to think so. I've been close here before. I've led a lot of laps here, and I finished second. I finished third. I don't know how many times, but I've yet to break through for that victory. So hoping that it can come here on Saturday night, and that would certainly, I think propel us almost all the way to Homestead. We still got to race Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix, but I'm pretty sure we can get through the next round if we can get through this round.
And a win certainly would take the edge off with Talladega looming, Rick.
Thank you, Crash Massaro. As we take a look at the field, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch will make up row number 1.
How about Greg Biffle in row 2? A good run for those guys. Needing a shot in the arm. That's a really good qualifying effort for those guys.
Jimmy Johnson also back there in row 4. The other non-chaser in the top 8. Great qualifying effort for Eric Almirola.
Absolutely had a great run at Dover. Backed up with a good qualifying effort here at Charlotte.
Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, two young stars of the Cup Series. The other drivers that are in the top 16 that aren't chase drivers.
See Jeff Gordon in row 11th. That's obviously not what they were looking for tonight.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Paul Menard back there in row 13.
Tony Stewart outside row 18. He's got to be disappointed with that qualifying position.
And at the back of the field, Burton Sorensen and Alex Kennedy. Let's go back down to Dave.
And Rick, Joey Logano comes in third tonight for qualifying here at Charlotte. Describe your laps and where something was maybe lost to get this pole.
It's a lot of fun qualifying here at Charlotte. You know, you're just on the gas so much. There's so much grip when the sun goes down, and you don't really fall off in speed with runs for some reason. So it's a lot of fun driving the Shell Pennzoil Ford. We had a really good 1 and 2, I thought. Just got a little bit tight in 3 and 4 and didn't quite be able to, continue the turn to the 2/3 point of the corner to the exit. So I feel like I lost some there. I don't know if I had 2/10 there though. So that's the part I got to look at a little bit deeper and try to figure out and work with our team. But overall, we're doing what we got to do. We want to start first, obviously, but third's a good starting spot. We'll have a good pit stall for that reason. 500 miles, I know it's a long time, but still having a good starting spot is a good thing.
A lot of reasons to be positive for Joey Logano. Mike?
Lots of reason to be positive for Dale Earnhardt Jr., too. He had a very fast race car during that qualifying session. It's got to give you a lot of confidence going into Saturday night.
Yeah, I think I wish we'd have done better on that last round. We got really loose, and you don't get a chance to come in here and cool it off. So I got loose off into one, and it ruined the whole lap. But we were fast today in practice, fast in the first couple of rounds, and better than we've been in qualifying in a long time. I think the cool temperatures helped us and gave us some good grip. And the guys did a good job really kind of bringing the car to the track fast, coming off the trailer quick. And we got through the first couple of rounds pretty good. So we're making some gains on qualifying. Still ain't exactly where we want to be, but seeing we're seeing some reasons and understanding why we're making gains, why we weren't in the past. So hopefully this is going to continue for the next several weeks.
And he's trying to carry a lot of momentum from a very strong finish in Dover a week ago, Rick.
Thanks, Mike. We're going to break down the track when we come back. This difficult 1.5 miles. They'll have to negotiate 500 miles on Saturday night. A lot of action here at Charlotte Motor Speedway tomorrow. It all starts with 3:30 Sprint Cup Series second practice. Final practice for the Sprint Cup Series at 6:30 and the Xfinity Series countdown to green, and then the race just after 8 o'clock. Green flag will drop on Saturday. A lot of action continuing there with NASCAR America Saturday at 5 o'clock. Countdown to green with Eden Dita Melinda as she performs below a helicopter 100 feet in the air. It will be incredible. If you want to see that, we'll show it during Countdown to Green. Sprint Cup racing from Charlotte at 7 o'clock. All wrapped up with victory lap at 11:30. All right, guys, 1.5 mile racetrack. We saw speeds in qualifying right at 195 miles an hour. How do you negotiate this track?
Well, this is a very tough racetrack. It's hard when you're out there by yourself, but when the racing starts, you have a lot of other issues you have to deal with. Have this big bump going into turn one. We'll see these cars as they drive into turn one. You'll see how much they move up and down. Very hard to get into turn one.
What makes it really difficult is the car almost unloads. It kind of goes over the hill. Right here, you see the crest of the hill, and then you land down into turn one. That makes the balance for turn one very difficult to get. And it doesn't get any easier when you get down to turn four, Jeff.
No, it doesn't. Turn four is really wide. You see a lot of multi-groove racing. We see here 4 wide in the middle of 3 and 4 coming off turn 4. That's all good, but when you get to the exit of turn 4, you better get 2 wide.
Yeah, the only time we've seen guys right here get it all the way down to 2 wide. We've seen people brave it in the past, though. Denny Hamlin coming to the checkered flag in this race. Brings it all the way to the fence, 3 wide. He needs these positions, makes contact with the wall. Luckily, he knows he's ended the race here, stays in the gas, gains the position.
And when you come off turn 4 and you're side by side, we've seen a lot of drivers here get their left sides on the grass. When you do, you can tear that splitter up. You can really damage your race car.
And if you get too aware of the grass right here, you see the 43 and the 55. The 43 knows he needs asphalt, moves right. Well, it's that funnel effect. They collect each other. See how fast this track is right here. Tons of speed going into turn 1. A big crash ends up all the way down in the middle of the corner.
Is there an area that you focus on, or are you out there and just hoping that everyone holds their line?
The paved area. The whole paved mile-and-a-half area. I mean, I'm serious. There's not an easy area here. The backstretch straight, but it connects two very difficult corners. The D on the front stretch, Jeff, very easy to clip fenders or end up in the grass.
This isn't a track where you can sacrifice a lot on one end of the racetrack and make it up on the other. You really need to be good on both ends of the racetrack.
Autographs being signed by the pole winner at Charlotte. Matt Kenseth, all smiles. When we come back, final thoughts from Charlotte, and then off to NHL Live in Denver. Chase for the Sprint Cup continues Saturday with round 2 of the NASCAR playoffs. The Bank of America 500, 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Tomorrow, Xfinity Series racing right here in Charlotte, presented by AutoZone. Race coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Impressive run for Matt Kenseth. He wins the pole. Now, coming up, it's the NHL Live from Denver, Colorado with Chris Cuthbert and Pierre Maguire.